Joey Logano holds off Ross Chastain in an epic battle for the win at the end of this thing, giving him a spot in the Final Four while Bubba Wallace gets frustrated and shows it on and off the racetrack. And of course, we're going to go through that playoff grid. Let's talk about arguably one of the best races of the season at Las Vegas. Hello everybody, welcome to Dirty Air. I'm your host Alex Lambert, and let's talk about NASCAR in Las Vegas, a very exciting race. Like I said in my intro, this was arguably one of the best races of the season. If you ask me, this is definitely up there. I love this race from every aspect. The racing was fantastic. We know at the mile-and-a-half tracks, the racing with this new car has been phenomenal. It definitely proved today, a great race today at Las Vegas. A lot of battling for the lead. Joey Logano, who was up front for a lot of this race, had to hold off or had to pass Ross Chastain at the end of it. Chastain pulled off a few epic blocks trying to stop him, but in the end, Joey Logano is going to Phoenix. I almost said Homestead there, but we go to Homestead next week. And he has punched his ticket. He's the first driver guaranteed into the Final Four. Let's talk about everything that unfolded at the end of this race. I want to talk about the closing laps because I think we restarted with 15 laps to go. Chastain makes this fantastic move on the high side to go past Justin Haley and Chase Briscoe. Yes, Justin Haley and Chase Briscoe. He goes past those two, makes it 3 wide on the high side, and takes the lead. And he was able to hold that lead for quite some time until Joey Logano was able to get up to second place. And Logano had a few fresher lap tires, I think 12 or 13 lap fresher tires than everybody else. Paul Wolfe made that decision, Brad Kay's old crew chief. They made a great call, was able to run him down. Kind of like the same call we had last week with Christopher Bell running down Kevin Harvick. It worked, and today there was a lot of tire fall off, and great win. Joey Logano is able to pass Ross Chastain. After a couple of big blocks by Chastain, Logano was able to get a win, his third career win at Las Vegas in really exciting fashion. What a fantastic race. While those two were racing, we had Kyle Busch also on fresh tires. I thought he was going to get up there. You know, Kyle Busch had a rough day. He was able to get up there, and it looked like he might be battling for the lead if this thing got a couple more laps. So a very exciting race. I'm going to try to get into all of it. But let's talk about Joey Logano just for a moment. Like I said, when I talk about these older veteran-type drivers, I don't consider Logano a veteran right now. But when somebody has impressive stats, I'd like to go through those stats. So I do want to say that Joey Logano has won at Las Vegas 3 times now, although somewhat recently, 2019, 2020, right before the lockdowns, and then in 2022, obviously today. So that's his third win at Las Vegas, his third win this season. Arguably could have a lot of momentum going into the championship as Chase Elliott does not right now. We'll talk about that obviously in a little bit as well. And Joey Logano's 30th career win. I remember when Joey Logano got his 4th career win. I was watching that race at Texas on a Monday. Today he got his 30th career win, an already impressive career for Joey Logano. So let's talk about everything else that happened. I want to go through the top 10 real quick because that's kind of the best way to explain it. Like I said, Joey Logano was able to pass Ross Chastain with 3 laps to go in an epic battle. Ross Chastain, unfortunately, on the older tires, was fast all day. These guys were trading the lead between them and Blaney and Chastain. These guys were trading the lead all day until Blaney had his issue. And a couple other guys got up there like Chase Briscoe and stuff, but really those two were the best cars to beat all day. But with the fresher tires, Logano was Superman rolling through there and was able to get the win. Chastain, obviously, like I said, finished second. But Kyle Busch in third. Kyle Busch had those fresh tires. He had a rough day. He spun at the beginning of this race. You see him just gets loose. I think he just got loose, spun in the infield grass, tore up some of the fender there, but was able to continue. And then, of course, later on in the race, coming to one of, or maybe one of the final pit stops. At the moment, we thought that might be the last pit stop. They don't get the lug nut tight, and the wheel falls off on the back straightaway. The fans go crazy, but Kyle Busch, through all that adversity, was able to come all the way back up to the field with fresh tires and finish third, and could, if, like I said, a few more laps in this race, would have been able to win at his hometown in Las Vegas, still trying to get his final win for Joe Gibbs Racing. Watch him next week in Miami. That was exciting to watch. I'm a big Kyle Busch fan, and that was a fun race to watch. I really enjoyed watching Kyle Busch come back to the field. That was fun. Chase Briscoe, obviously finishing in the 4th position. He had the lead there at the end, but just didn't have the tires, didn't have the car really to compete with Logano and Chastain, not long term. And ultimately, both of those went by him. We had Denny Hamlin end up finishing in the 5th position. Tyler Reddick had a good day. He was up front at the beginning of the race, kind of slowly faded as the race continued to go on. He was the pole sitter, and then Truex Jr. finishing in the top 10, 7th place. We have We have Eric Jones finishing in the 8th position, so not a bad run for him, showing a lot of speed out of that 43 car over the last few weeks, especially since that win in the Southern 500. AJ Allmendinger finishing 9th, another top 10 for AJ Allmendinger. Like I said, that's really impressive, and that's really hard to do, finish in the top 10 constantly like that. So that certainly is impressive. And then, of course, we have Austin Dillon finishing in the 3 car in the top 10. He rounds out the top 10. Dillon been getting a lot of top 10s lately as well. So that kind of rounds out your top 10. I wanted to talk about all that to try to show what happened in the finishing order. We also had Justin Haley running up front. Something happened to him at the end. Wasn't able to hold it with the older tires. Just wasn't able to hang in there with those guys. Fell back a lot, but that was a good call. He held the lead for quite some time there. And then, of course, I do want to mention that Noah Gragson finished 11th today. So another strong run for Noah Gragson in the 48 car. Obviously, we hope Alex Bowman gets back as soon as possible. I do want to talk about one of the top stories. I said it once again. I said it in my intro. Is Bubba Wallace right now. Bubba Wallace, obviously one of NASCAR's more known drivers, one of NASCAR's more polarizing drivers. Some fans like him, some fans don't like him very much. But today, Bubba Wallace and Kyle Larson got into an incident. You see here, Kyle Larson runs it really hard, really tight, and puts Bubba Wallace in the wall. I mean, Bubba had really run out of real estate there, ended up slamming the wall. Looked like his car was okay to keep going, so I hate that he kind of ruined his day there. Looked like Bubba could have kept going. And then he just hangs a left and destroys Kyle Larson's car and his car. And ultimately, it ends up taking Christopher Bell out, too. Christopher Bell actually got a DNF, did not finish this race, and that puts him in a deep hole when you talk about playoffs. Oh, not a good look for Bubba Wallace. Look, I've been saying it all day. Even Kyle Larson said in his interview, we've all done it. It's normal to get super emotional. Bubba Wallace is fairly young. Look. What Bubba Wallace did today on the racetrack is completely unacceptable. You cannot do that again. He has to learn from those mistakes. And then, of course, I'm going to show you here, Bubba Wallace just goes up after the incident, goes up there and just starts pushing Kyle Larson. Look, 1 push, okay, show your displeasure. 2, 3, 4, 5, no, that's too much. He took it way too far in both instances, on and off the racetrack. Took it way too far, Bubba Wallace did. Look, like I just said, he is a driver that is emotional. We know that he's emotional, and that's okay. I understand that. Like I said, I'm not defending what he did. I think there is definitely punishment that needs to be held accountable. I'll let NASCAR decide that. I don't know if you have to go to a race suspension. I don't know if you have to go to a big fine, a points penalty, even though he's not in the playoffs. You're still going for the drivers' championship, the owners' championship, a big points fine. Or a big points penalty, a big money fine, or even a race suspension. Something needs to be done here. Some action needs to be taken by NASCAR towards Bubba Wallace for this incident. But I don't think I can sit here and pin this against Bubba Wallace long term. I think he's smart in that. He's going to learn from this incident. It's a bad look. I mean, even the interview after the race, it was all a bad look on Bubba Wallace. Did not look good for him whatsoever. But I hope he learns from it. I understand the emotions. I understand the frustration. I felt like Bubba probably thought everything was collapsing on him there. He's pushed the driver around on the infield of the racetrack. He just wrecked himself and another driver. A bad day for Bubba Wallace. I think we can look and move forward from it, but definitely way too emotional for Bubba Wallace. He's got to learn to control that. I love the emotion. I love that he cares so much about this sport. He could have won this race with that race car. That was a super fast race car, but he probably still could have won. He just got up in the wall a little bit, and he almost pulled a Ty Gibbs. I mean, you can't let the emotion get to you that much. And I don't mean to down talk Ty Gibbs, but you can't let emotion get to you that much, and got to learn from it going into the future. So that's really all I wanted to say about that. I do want to talk about the playoff grid because that is very important. Obviously, here it is. Joey Logano, with his win today, guarantees his spot into the championship race at Phoenix, not Miami, at Phoenix, and he is the first driver guaranteed in. Now, Chastain, remember, going into this race, all the points were tight for everybody except Chase Elliott. So I want to keep that in mind. Everybody was within a few points of each other besides Chase Elliott. We had Chastain finish in the 2nd position. That's a good point save for him. Does not guarantee his spot in whatsoever, but it puts him 18 points above. That feels a lot more better than, somebody like Denny Hamlin or somebody below the cut line feels. You have Chase Elliott, who was 33 points going in to this race above the cut line with all the bonus points he had, finished 21st today. A terrible day for Chase Elliott. From what I understand, the car the team even stopped trying to work on the car. It was so bad. So you're telling me Chase Elliott's team didn't even they stopped working on the car because it was that bad. That is not good. That's unacceptable. We have next week Miami. It's a 1.5 mile track. It's got way different characteristics, but another 1.5 mile track, banked 1.5 mile track. If Chase Elliott's super slow next week, That's a problem. They've got to find a way to get those points. I'm not saying he's going to go below, but you can't have 2 weeks in a row where you get no stage points and get a 20th place finish and make it to the championship four. Not in this round. That's not going to work, even with the bonus points. So Chase Elliott obviously needs to find some speed. He is 17 points above the cut line. Denny Hamlin, obviously with a 5th place finish today and a few stage points, is 4th. He is the last guy in as of right now with 2 races to go. He's 6 points above. William Byron had a decent day. I mean, got a couple of stage points, finished 11th, or finished 12th, I'm sorry, and is -6 right now, so he can definitely still get up there. We'll have to see what Byron does in the next few weeks. Remember, William Byron does have a win at Miami, where we go next week. Briscoe, the man, the underdog. You talk about an underdog in the playoffs. I don't know if there's ever been a bigger underdog in this knockout round system. Maybe Ryan Newman, but I don't know if there's ever been a underdog driver like Chase Briscoe that we've seen in this knockout round style. He sneaks his way through the first round of the playoffs, kind of sneaks his way again through the second round of the playoffs, and here he is 9 points below. He was a few more points below going in, but he could have won the race today. I know he wasn't as fast as Logano, he wasn't as fast as Chastain, but he was leading late in the stages of this race and was able to get a 4th place finish. Briscoe's been showing a lot of speed, and he's been in the top 10 and top 5 a lot since the playoffs started, and it matters. You know, he's going into each round with a disadvantage, and he's still making it in. He's 9 points below, but don't count Briscoe out at all when it comes to these playoffs. Then, of course, we have Ryan Blaney. I'm going to show you here. Just gets, I don't know if he had a tire down, got loose. You see the car brakes. He slides into the infield of the racetrack, hits the inside wall, just completely ruins his day. I think he ended up getting a 34th finish. No, he got a 28th place finish. I had to look at my notes there. 28th place finish for Ryan Blaney. Christopher Bell got a 34th place finish after he wrecked early in the race. So no stage points for Christopher Bell whatsoever. As you see here, Christopher Bell just that same incident that happened with Bubba Wallace, that took him out. Like I said, Bubba Wallace clipped Christopher Bell. It took him out early in the race, not even due to his own fault, but to get no stage points and unfortunately finish in the 34th position. That's not how you're going to make the Final Four. So he starts out the round once again at a disadvantage. We'll have to see if he can pull off another walk-off win potentially in a few weeks in Martinsville. But yeah, all the energy last week going into Christopher Bell at the Roval. He did such a good job getting that win. This week it's the exact opposite. Christopher Bell below by 23, arguably in a must-win situation. So that's it. That's really all there is to talk about after NASCAR Las Vegas. We do go to Miami next week. Like I said, the racing package that we've seen at the mile and a half is fantastic. I expect a great race next week in Miami, and I'm certainly excited for it. And hey, like and subscribe if you like the video. I got a video coming out about Kurt Busch sometime this week. I want to do a tribute to Kurt Busch and his announcement on retiring. But that's really it. That's all there is to talk about. Thanks for watching. Like I said, like and subscribe. And of course, let's get rowdy.